Right, in this video our goal is to be able to convert between percentages and decimals, and we'll throw fractions in there as well because our calculator makes those pretty simple. So to start with, what we're going to look at is if we have a percentage, how do we turn that into a decimal? So in order to do this, we need to understand what percent means. Percent actually means the two words percent, which is a fancy way of saying something divided by 100. So in order to convert a percentage to a decimal, all we have to do is divide the percentage by 100. So if we have a problem like this, this says rewrite 45% as a decimal, all we have to do is take 45 and divide it by 100. And so 45% as a decimal is 0.45. You may notice too that all I'm doing is I'm moving the decimal point from behind the 5 2 places over in front of the 4. So 45% as a decimal is 45 divided by 100, or 0.45. Now, if I divide by 100 to go from percent to a decimal, if I want to go from a decimal to a percentage, I do the opposite. I multiply by 100. And don't forget your percentage symbol afterwards. So example 2 asks us to rewrite 0.26 as a percentage. And so in order to do this, all we have to do is take 0.26 times 100, and we get our percentage, 26%. And again, notice I've just moved the decimal point 2 places through the magic of multiplying by 100 in a base 10 system. So, two things we've learned. To go from a percentage to a decimal, you divide by 100. To go from a decimal to a percentage, you multiply by 100. And the last thing I need to throw in here is what we do if we have a fraction. If you have a fraction, just use your calculator. We have this thing changing or dealing with these conversions between fractions and decimals isn't the focus of this course. If you're really interested, let me know. I can definitely show you how to do it. But for the purposes of this course, let's just let the calculator do that. It's really, really good at it. So if we are asked to write, for instance, 62% as a simplified fraction, then all we have to do is go to our trusty handy-dandy calculator, and we're going to tell the calculator that we want 62% as a decimal. So I go ahead and turn it into a decimal by dividing by 100, and the decimal I get is 0.62. Now I'm asked to have this as a fraction. So if I have a decimal and I want to turn it into a fraction, what I'm going to do is hit the math key, and that brings up a menu that looks like this. And we're interested in the first two options. The one that says arrow frac will take whatever the last number entered was and change it into a fraction. If you have a fraction that you want to turn into a decimal, which is less likely because you can just enter it in as a division problem and hit enter, but if you need to do that, option 2 will turn a fraction into a decimal. But again, we're just hitting the math button, and we want option 1, so you can either press the number 1 or hit enter, and notice it says answer to a fraction, so that's going to take 0.62 and convert it into a fraction, which is 31 over 50. So all I did was I took my percentage, turned it into a decimal, and used my calculator to turn that decimal into a fraction.